This is House File 7, the 100% clean energy by 2040 bill. This is what the people want. This bill will help us reduce carbon emissions. Carbon emissions are the #1 threat to our planet, and they've been rising. This bill will reduce utility carbon emissions between now and 2040 and beyond. This will help the way we work, live, and play. Members, climate change is coming and has been here, and it affects everything we do. In the southwestern part of the state, where Senator Dames, Senator Weber, and I are proud to represent thousands of family farms, drought has now affected us twice in a row. That drought costs money and is a threat to our $20 billion a year agriculture industry. In the southwestern United States, the drought has affected the supply of water so badly that they can now not agree on how to make significant cuts. The climate storm damage in this nation in 2021 totaled $484 billion. That's just the part paid by American insurance companies, which, as we all know, comes from the premiums that each and every American pays. This bill represents compromise, Mr. President, on several fronts, and that's a credit to not only the Republican members on the committee and in the caucus, but to those stakeholders who said, hey, we've got to do this differently. Those compromises, Mr. President, that are in the current language of the bill include a compromise on large hydroelectric power, a compromise and clarity on the use of peaking power plants, clarity that utilities, large and small, can buy renewable energy credits. That's a key feature that allows flexibility for these boards. Compromise on partial credit. That's the ability to say, here's the percentage of the clean energy that you can use, and it can be counted. Earlier versions of this bill, and this is the third biennium I've introduced this bill, would not have counted that. Compromise on the use of the renewable energy credits and the standard to satisfy multiple standards. And the big one, Mr. President, was that in the last 14 days, the bill was amended to allow for municipals and co-ops to change the standard as proposed for 2030 from 80% carbon-free energy to 60%. That caused several of our utilities to become more comfortable with the bill, and we've included testimony from those committees. There are other issues, Mr. President, that I want to talk about. I'm guessing with the amendments we'll have a chance to, but here are 3 things, members, that I think we should not do today. We should not weaken the standard that's in this bill by the date or by percentage. Let's make 100% by 24. It is widely supported. Let's keep that standard. 2, let's not give preference to one type of energy over another. We are talking about carbon-free energy. One thing that utilities have told us is that they would like to have the flexibility to choose their own mix. Amendments that suggest that we change that standard or give one preference to one type of carbon-free energy over another do not fit the stakeholder agreement. And 3, the off-ramp. This off-ramp is meant to protect utilities large and small that simply cannot make it to 100% and are able to demonstrate that. Amendments that change the off-ramp, that widen the off-ramp, that alter the off-ramp will not be accepted by the vast majority of stakeholders and cannot be considered a friendly amendment. Members, we've talked about price and affordability, and this bill offers us both of those. On price, we know that unsubsidized wind power is the cheapest form of energy generation. In my district, in Senator Dames' district, in Senator Weber's district, is some of the best wind turbine conditions in the country. And we are developing that wind power because it is the cheapest. This bill can help drive the energy to the cheapest form and will incentivize these boards to do so.
Before you today is the Minnesota Blackout Bill, the bill that will increase the chance of putting more Minnesotans at risk with not only the reliability of the grid and the energy production we do here in Minnesota, but also increase the cost of what Minnesotans will be paying under the new policies that are enacted in this plan. Unfortunately, the Democrat majority has decided to push for strict mandates on Minnesota's utilities to a carbon-free energy at a pace that current technology cannot support or does not support today. And I have asked groups from large utilities to small in my office, what does it look like for you to accomplish this standard? And I have not gotten one affirmative response saying, yep, we know how we can do it. The large utilities like Xcel are in the best position that likely will be able to do that on their own, but they're way ahead of where small co-ops, small municipals, and smaller utilities across the state of Minnesota do not have a good path forward with what they have and the customers that they serve to accomplish this. So simply hoping for a clean energy technology in the future to come around, such as batteries to be the magic glue for wind and solar, hoping that is not a plan. Members, without access to reliable forms of energy, Minnesota's energy grid will not be able to keep up with demand on peak times. And members, the times where we will be most likely to have reliability questions, where we'll be at the strongest risk of grid failures, of brownouts, of rolling blackouts, will be either during the hottest summer days or the coldest winter nights. The times when you most need your energy to be on will be the times when the reliability of your energy will be at its lowest. And the way that this bill is weakening access to reliable energy is that it is removing from Minnesota's mix many of the strong, concrete baseload generation forms that provide the strong foundation for the energy that we use today, that we're using right now, and that we've been using for years. By removing our gas plants today off of the mix, retiring our traditional plants. We have the 2 nuclear plants that are today, but if we're moving this direction, we will need to have more nuclear facilities in the mix. Big hydro needs to be in the mix for a baseload form of energy. It's a simple math problem, members. What we have here is a subtraction of the baseload forms of energy, particularly gas and coal and the peaking plants and these large traditional facilities. And we are adding weather-dependent, unreliable renewables, wind and solar, that are largely dependent on the weather.